Control, it's an illusion. If the only thing that you can control is not doing anything, you don't even take the shot in the first place, well then you're not gonna go anywhere. Emotions play a key role in this because the way that you feel, you get rejected or you don't get the deal or you don't get the outcome that you want, you're gonna bottle that up. And if you don't understand what that does to your subconscious and why, then you need to take, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. I know you've heard that before. So why don't you take the shot? Why do you hold yourself back? Why do you not make that move? These are the questions that we're gonna address today. It's all about control. You wanna be in control. You wanna control the outcome. Your subconscious mind is gonna give you the outcome that you absolutely have control over. This is a continuation of our series about self-sabotage and the subconscious mind. So let's get into it. So why do we want control? Have you really sat down and thought about why you want control? Well, that's easy. You want to be able to make the things that you want to happen, happen. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel like you're the one who's in the driver's seat. What's the easiest thing to control if you don't do something? If you have an opportunity or a shot, something that's going to better yourself, or if you're going to win a deal, close a deal, make a sale, or make some level of progress, isn't the easiest thing not to do it? Think about that. Isn't the easiest thing not to do it? Like we talked about in our last episode, there's this whole idea that your mind is going to keep you safe because maybe you're afraid to take that shot because of what's going to happen. Maybe you're going to get rejected. Maybe you're going to get told no. Maybe your hopes are going to get up to here and you think the deal is done and all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from underneath you. It's all happened. It's happened to me. It's happened to you. It's happened to a ton of other people, right? That is the common thing when you're trying to accomplish something. You're going to run into resistance and friction, and it's not always going to go that way. But the most frustrating part is the way that it makes you feel. So let's just back up a little bit. So if internally you don't like the way that it makes you feel, if it makes you feel bad or rejected, or it has an effect of your self-worth, whatever that is, right? Whatever that emotion that you tie to that makes you feel utterly horrible. That is information that's going back into your brain, your subconscious mind. And what's going to happen is that it's going to naturally want to protect you from feeling that way. There's no guaranteed outcomes. Nobody has ultimate control. That's an illusion. But sometimes if we do things enough or don't do them and continue to fail or fall flat on our face, then we're afraid to get back up. And then your mind is going to play a little trick on you because when you get ready to pick yourself up and go again, you're going to meet some internal resistance. And you're going to go back and forth. Have you ever sat there and let's say you needed to make a phone call to get a deal done. Let's use that as an example. And you sit and you wait. You think of every single outcome of what potentially could happen. They're going to say no. They're not going to answer. Maybe I hope I get their voicemail. But if I get their voicemail, what do I say? I'm using this as an example because it's one that a lot of people face. It's about just making that next step to get to where you want to go. But you're sitting there in your mind, just psyching yourself out. And eventually, you just don't do it. I say that that's your subconscious mind keeping you safe. And consciously, you think that you're in control because you're the one who didn't make that call. You're the one who didn't pick up the phone. You're the one who didn't click that button. And guess what? It didn't happen. You never took that shot. So let's think about this on an emotional level, right? So let's talk about the emotions that I just represented. They're all negative. Fear of rejection. Maybe you get angry when people make you feel less than, because they don't take your advice. They don't listen to you. They treat you disrespectfully, maybe over the phone or maybe when you're in a meeting, right? These are all those things that kind of get bottled up. You get these butterflies in your stomach. Well, your brain is going to associate that with, hey, I need to keep you safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this. I'm going to make sure that if you think you have control to not feel that way, then don't do it. Keeping you safe, right? It's interesting because I don't think a lot of us consciously understand what's going on. We just think we're not capable. Well, you are capable. You're more than capable. What really is the difference between person A and person B? Somebody might have a little more experience, but even those that have a ton of experience in something or they're really good at something doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be successful. So what is that? What is that? It goes back to the subconscious mind. What do you do with that? You have these emotions, you have this fear, you have this anger, you have this sadness, feeling less than, whatever it is that you are going to go through as you navigate through this process, and you're going to end up in that same spot. You didn't take the shot. That goes back to control. You want to be able to control the outcome, and that's the only outcome that you can control. So, and it's easy because if you actually make up enough excuses, hold yourself back, not do the very thing that you need to move forward, then you're going to get that guaranteed result. So how do we combat this? I'm going to tell you. Think about this. Action and discipline is the cure. Action. Let's say you've got all of this built up crap in your head. You know, I can't do this because of this. I got rejected so many times, and I just don't want to feel that way again. I don't want to pick myself up again and keep moving forward. Well, if you just stop and be stagnant, you're never going to move. So what is the next logical thing? You take the shot. Even if you're terrible at first, the first shot you take, it's the worst. You fumble your words. You think you make a fool of yourself, whatever it is. Then you do the next one, and then you do the next one, and then you do the next one. I bet you that you're going to get better and better and better, because what you're going to do is you're going to break that cycle of whatever that negative emotion is, this feeling of keeping you safe, but backing it all the way up to being in control, and you're not going to care about that anymore because you're just going to do. Don't think, just do. More time you spend thinking is going to be the more time that you're going to talk yourself out of it, and you're going to let your subconscious mind know it's going to give you that end result that you want, which is nothing, because that's the only thing you can control. But if you keep doing and you keep pushing over and over and over again, you're going to train your mind that that's what you want. That's what brings that positive emotion of being fulfilled because you're actually doing something. What's the second part of this? Establish a set of rules, guidelines, right? Those are good. Those are really, really good. So whatever it is, let's go back to the analogy of the phone call. You know, well, I'm going to call X amount of people per day. You know, I'm only going to allow myself to get a certain amount of voicemails, but I'm going to get through and I'm going to make this pitch. I like to use the analogy of telephones because I don't know what it is, but there's something about cold calling or just calling somebody you don't know that absolutely freezes people up. But it can be something else. It could be as simple as, you know, walking into your boss's office and giving them that idea or her that idea that you've been holding back on because you think you're going to sound stupid. Throw it out there. And maybe it doesn't come out perfectly that first time, but the more and more you do it, the more and more you're going to train yourself to be able to present these things, move forward. So set the rules, because you can always fall back on those. So if you get a little bit off kilter or go down the rabbit hole, you can always refer back to your guideline, whatever that is for you, right? Whatever makes sense for you that you can follow. Make sure it's simple. Doesn't have to be overly complicated. As a matter of fact, I want you to take complication and throw it out the window, because complicated doesn't work when you can get it done in a simple term. Because simplicity in its purest form, as long as it's effective, is going to be 10 times more valuable than trying to make something complex. Because that's another thing that we can get into in a future episode that you're really training your subconscious mind to do, to hold you back. So, activity. Track your activity. Set the goal every single day. You're going to do this amount of calls. You're going to talk to this many people. You're going to do, you know, this many pitches, right? The idea is that you are going to be setting activity. Because activity begets activity. The more activity you do, the more things are going to happen. It's just statistics. So think about this. So baseball players, you're considered a good hitter if you have a 300 plus batting average. Okay? 300, which means that you hit the ball 3 times out of 10. So a hit in baseball means that you get on base or you hit a home run, right? That counts as a hit. You're not out. But if you're able to do that, you're considered very good. So think about that. So out of 10 pitches, you're going to hit it 3 times. That's considered good. Well, I will tell you that to get even better, you have to learn how to hit 3 pitches out of 10, right? And then as long as you know how to do that, you're going to continue to make more progress, and you're going to get better and better. You're going to find different ways to improve that batting average, even just a little bit, which is going to make you that much more successful. So let's think about this. Control, right? What is the biggest thing that you control? Not doing anything, right? We just said it. It's the easiest thing. Why do you think we gravitate towards that? Because we know what the outcome is. And if you know what the outcome is, even though it's not that great because you didn't do anything, you at least know. And somewhere in your subconscious mind, it just makes you feel good that you have control over something. So let's recap. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. If you don't take a shot, you don't have a chance. Control, it's an illusion. If the only thing that you can control is not doing anything, so you don't even take the shot in the first place, well then you're not going to go anywhere. Emotions. Emotions play a key role in this because the way that you feel, when you get rejected or you don't get the deal or you don't get the outcome that you want, right? You're going to bottle that up. And if you don't understand what that does to your subconscious and why you'll see it trying to keep you safe, then you need to take a moment and just understand what this is. But the key takeaway is action and discipline are the cure. That's how you get through it. You can do this. If you know someone who needs to hear this episode or see it, share it with them. I always encourage you guys to subscribe. If you have a moment, leave a comment and start a conversation. And if you would, I'd really appreciate if you rate the show, whether it's on the podcast or on the YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube at HeyCharlesBiz. We're HeyCharles on Apple Podcast and Spotify. HeyCharles77 on Instagram and TikTok. And Charles Ernst on LinkedIn. See you next time.